Holy freaking crap. Am I playing Chaos Head Noah again? I guess I am. Wow. So, welcome back to this delightful series. I say that this time as someone who has not played this game in a little over a month. That doesn't mean I've forgotten all the things that have happened. I remember everything. In fact, when I finished recording the episode you just watched, episode 31, we were probably only about episode maybe 14, 15 had gone live. So since then, I've edited and uploaded everything else. I've collected my thoughts. I've taken a break. I'm coming back to it, and we're going to see if we can get the other endings. This will be a bit of a clip show. I will more or less be only including content that is new, so I will try to summarize what's been happening as we go, but we're only really going to be looking at the scenes that are new. I would make the usual joke about, oh, I need to figure out how to play the game again, but the best part is we get to start figuring out how to play the game for the first time, because we've been ignoring all the delusions up until now. I feel a little bit validated in that decision, because I was looking at some of the other YouTube Let's Plays to see what they did about that somewhat problematic scene last episode, and everyone kind of got the same ending that I did first. So it's like, okay, maybe this is how you're just supposed to do things. On the topic of that somewhat problematic scene from the last episode, I did check to see what other YouTubers had done. Only one really blacked it out. Everyone else just kind of let it ride, so I guess I'll do the same thing. I'm not a huge fan of censorship if I don't need to, but it is a weird scene. It's just kind of like, why is this here? What is this doing? It's okay. I don't mind adult content if there's a purpose. I don't know what the purpose is yet. I alluded at the time to a similar scene, a similar situation in Steins Gate, where the main character is having some very naughty thoughts about things he shouldn't be doing to a certain female side character. But in that situation, there's a reason, because he's doing something that is, shall we say, eroding his humanity. He's doing something that's actually kind of damaging himself psychologically, where there are things that he's doing and thinking that are just showing how he's kind of losing his humanity and not thinking of the people around him as being as human, I guess you could say. It's tough to say without, I mean, if you've seen the ending, you've seen the ending. You know what I'm talking about. But again, it has a purpose. In this game, the scene had no purpose. It was just like, talking to me, why? Why are you doing this? What's going on? That entire scene is weird, because Remy is also not behaving quite normal. When Takumi stops molesting her, she's like, oh, you chose to be boring, and she kind of walks away and goes over to Narose, which is not really a Remy thing to do or a Remy way to respond. Also, the whole Yume Pass song is playing, which Narose doesn't even just recognize. He doesn't even acknowledge that that's there, so I don't know what's going on with that. We still don't know what the hell's going on with that song, so there's a lot of questions that have not been answered, and I'm just hoping we get some answers. We get some sort of context or resolution to a lot of those things. So yeah, for now I'm just going to let that scene ride. Other thoughts that came up to me, we may even get some context going forward as we start picking delusions, because one of the comments said that red was nightmarish, but green was erotica. So are we going to have some sort of context there? I doubt it. I keep thinking of something that Fess said, and I alluded to this during the episode as well, and it came up again in my mind when I was editing, because Ayase in the hospital talks about the wicked-heartedness in people's hearts. Does that have something to do with Takumi's wicked-heartedness? Because he's not really denied that. He's just a selfish otaku, anime freak. I don't know. Lots of questions. I'm just going to leave it and give the game the benefit of the doubt for now. Anyway. Other things that I thought I would bring up or just mention as I noticed I was editing. I couldn't help but notice also the DQN puzzle victims, the 3 people that got disassembled and reassembled as part of, I think they were the 7th victims. They were actually approached by Darth Spider. I didn't realize that until after the fact when I was going back through it. And it's like, oh, Suwa, I guess, recruited them to go and beat up our boy. But they ended up becoming the final victim of the new gen killings. There's a lot of dots that still haven't been connected here. I know Fess and the Cosmic Church, they both seem to be inspired possibly by that Gladiole book of Psalms and Revelations. So I wonder how that's going to play into things going forward. Also, another thing Sua mentioned, when he visited Ayase, he mentioned his girlfriend of 4 years. Because she called him. And that was just a scene out of the blue that was just shoehorned in there. And I'm still thinking, what is the purpose of that? The only thing I can think of was that his girlfriend is Hazuki. And that would maybe imply that the baby she sacrificed was his. He's the father and she's the mother. I'm not sure what that gets us. As far as narrative, I'm not sure why that would be important, but it's the only thing I'm really taking away from that scene right now. I wonder if who Sua's girlfriend actually is going to matter down the road. Anyway, I'm also curious who the fourth delusion is during the crucifixion, because Remy said that 4 delusions were sort of intermixed there. Hers, Takami's, I forget who else's. Possibly, I think she said the actual murderer and something along those lines. And we know someone's been arrested for that, and we know someone's fingerprints are on those stakes. So that's a murder that still needs to be fleshed out a bit. Obviously, we know who's responsible for the 2nd murder and the 5th murder. But who's responsible for the 3rd? And who was arrested and why? I wonder how that's going to come up. Getting back to this whole reality warping thing, it's awfully arbitrary, and I think that's the one thing I'm not a fan of about the game right now. The game is just very fast and loose with what constitutes mutual recognition, as people are essentially able to just warp reality as they see fit for God knows what reason. And again, we haven't had any answers for why certain things have been happening or necessarily why certain things are being done. We also don't know why people were messing with Takami, specifically Sua and Hazuki. Why did they track him down in an MMO? Why did Hazuki play the part of Grimm? What was the purpose there? What was that leading to? Still don't know what the hell is the purpose of the You May Pass song. Also, who was in the office? I speculated at the time it was Sua who was in the office when we first got introduced to Narose. Who was he talking to? When they blacked out to that Garo Froggy, that scene there. And he was like, oh, I can't believe you were a gigalomaniac. Well, who could he be talking about? Because if we look at the gigalomaniacs that we know of, unless there's someone unaccounted for, it would have to be one of the 6 girls. And I think I might have speculated in one of the past videos, I almost leaned back toward it being Nanami. I don't see how. I don't think it would be Yua. It wouldn't be Ayase. Maybe? No, it wouldn't. No, it can't be Remy, because he would know that Remy's a gigalomaniac. Who the hell knows? I don't know. That whole scene is also a question mark. And it does make me wonder if there's a mastermind above Narose. I don't think it's the founder, because the founder also got killed in the one ending that we did get. Is it going to be this Gladiole person? I don't know. Anyway, we are literally going to start the game from scratch. And I'm going to start to fast forward to different delusions. My understanding is that the way the game works now, at least to get the next ending that I want to see, I have to see certain delusions. But the thing is, I feel like I've already seen these. I feel like I'm just going back through the game again, so it makes me wonder, was the B ending locked until I got the first ending? So I'm just going to boost through things. And I'm just going to get the first ending. I'm going to record as long as I need to, and if I need to cut things up, I'll cut things up, and I'll invent an intro to throw between the videos after the fact, which is different from how I've done it in the past. I feel like each ending is going to be maybe 2 episodes. We'll see. I'm just going to play it by ear and try to make it as entertaining as possible. So thank you again for sticking with the series as long as you have. I do appreciate all the views, the comments. I appreciate some of the discussion we've had. Every now and then on some of the streams as well. It's always nice that people are following along and enjoying things. So anyway, let's get into it and see where we go. Again, this will be a bit of a clip show, but just stick with me and we'll see where we go for ending 2. Let's take it away. Oh, hello. Was this here before? Whose eyes are those eyes? It's just a coincidence. I didn't get these choices before. It's not a coincidence. This is new. I'm making it up. It's all in my head. No, you're not. The new gen killer is somewhere in this school. Not untrue. I still theorize the new gen killer is multiple people. It's not just Hazuki. I'm going to say yes. It's still going, which, judging by the last time we encountered something like this, means I'm picking right. Whoever wrote this is trying to provoke me. That seems fairly obvious. Number 5, is this our last one? I should definitely erase it. Ooh, I don't know about that. What does it say on those cards? Something Gate. Heaven's Gate? Heaven's Gate. Is that the thing Ayase was talking about? I should definitely erase it. I feel like this question is going to mean something. Let's try no. Maybe? I couldn't remember. Wasn't like I ever paid any attention to the blackboard anyway. I don't know if that had an effect. This feels like the conversation is going on the way it did the first time, but I don't know if that's going to happen regardless, or if I avoided a game over. I doubt it was a game over, because I didn't get a game over the first time I went through this scene. Why is this coming up now? There's also an achievement for finding all the whose eyes are those eyes incidents, examples, which I'm sure this is one of. I wonder what controls that too. Well, I'm going to press on, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of yes questions here, and if I just screwed that up, I may end up coming back here. See you in a bit. Oh yeah, this thing. I can't remember if this does something, but you know what? I'm going to check off everything now. Last time I checked off all the things that were relevant. This time I'm just going to be like, hey, Hazuki, look how messed up I am. Apparently there's some way to get Hazuki to put on glasses. There's some achievement for that. I have no idea how to do it, but let's just do this and see what her response is. Okay. Hey, Hazuki, what do you think of that?
Hi, お疲れ様でした.
So did I pair?
No.
それでは待合室でお待ちください.
Alright, fine. I guess I'll just go then. Girl B looked down at me coldly. I think I encountered something here. This chick wasn't normal. Please let me ogle you more. Oh, there is a choice coming up. Okay. Something... I had to rewind a bit because this came up and I didn't understand what the context was. I don't feel any more enlightened by coming back to this. Please let me ogle you more. No. No. Every morning, Senna wakes up and chooses violence. We don't want to say things like this to her. Okay. Every time it continues, I feel like I made the right answer. But these are things that did not come up before. The only time this came up on the initial playthrough was when we were standing on the roof. If it's with this girl, I'm willing to go down on my hands and knees and beg with all my heart and soul. No, no. This is not your soulmate, Homer. If given the choice, I prefer being stepped on. You know what? You're kind of a little bitch, so I'm willing to say yes to that one. Okay. I've got nothing against a little sword play, if you know what I mean. I don't know if... I'm only assuming that if it continues, I made the right choice. It's 5 again. She's going to kill me with that sword either way. Not necessarily. Help. Okay. So, either I screwed up again and failed on the 5th question again, or these questions don't matter, or failing them leads to a bad end or something. I'm pretty sure this happened before. Can I fast forward? I can. Okay, so this is all things I've seen. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to keep noting those things for posterity. And if they become relevant, we'll find out. And, yeah, otherwise, I don't know why I'm showing them to you, but I am. Because if I have to suffer, you have to suffer. See you in a bit. All right, we're back at the Fest concert. And folks are rocking out, singing the prophetic song. So we went here because we heard about Fest from the threads on @channel. about the new gen killings and how she kind of seemed to be predicting them with some of her lyrics. But of course now we know that's just from the Book of Gladioel, which is a whole other separate thing. So meanwhile, we're going to fast forward. And while she's on stage, she looks at me. Looks directly at us. Now this time, we're going to actually pick an option. My God, we're actually going to pick something for the first time in our lives. It's positive. Okay, what does it do? What's going to change? And it wasn't like she just glanced in the general direction or briefly made eye contact. Fess was blatantly looking right at me. Again, how are we singling these Gigalomaniacs out? Senna pulled us over in the hallway right at the beginning. Kozue was happy to be in our class. Why is Fess looking at us when we've done nothing? I'd even go so far as to say she was staring at me fixedly, as if evaluating my existence. As if judging me for my choices during these delusion segments. Her gaze was all too intense, and yet somehow it seemed a little sad. Oh, why didn't you pick red? I like red. Red's my favorite color. Okay, things are happening. That flash comes up, and as she descended from the stage into the audience, I couldn't take my eyes off her. What was going through her head, I wondered. Can I fast forward? I can. Okay, so I guess we just picked things. She casually threw her jacket off, exposing her sexy shoulders. I feel like this is new. Did she throw off her jacket before? Maybe they thought she was too holy of an existence to be touched. Is she coming over to me? I swear I've got it set up so I can't skip unread dialogue. Normally, if a girl with her charisma dove into the crowd, it wouldn't be surprising if they got crushed to death. It would seem that Phantasm's herd of sheep had agreed to restrain themselves, all abiding by the unspoken rule of do not touch Fess. This seems new. Okay, it is sort of new. And that was a great straightforward no. I'm skipping some of the dialogue when the game shouldn't be letting me. And in doing so, they could feel Fess's presence right in front of them. They could savor her sweat. They could touch the same air. And it was their greatest joy. But I couldn't believe what Fess did next. She began to unfasten the belt around her waist. Okay, maybe green is the erotica option. She threw it into the crowd. And all of her followers instantly reaching for it, competing with one another to lay claim over it. And then with a sidelong glance at them, Fess, what did you do? Okay, this is definitely new. Unzipped her miniskirt. Okay. Why is the game letting me skip text that I haven't seen? I know that shouldn't be the question I'm asking right now. This is the question I should be asking right now. Why is this on my screen? Is this going to get blacked out? This might get blacked out. We're going to see if this gets blacked out. Fess is unzipping her miniskirt. And it fell to her feet. Okay. Her underwear is exposed. She needs to not have a care in the world. She's just, again, judging me. Psy'Min, why did you pick this? Why did you pick this option? Maybe she was just an exhibitionist. I'm sorry I ever picked something other than a neutral path. What the hell? Fess looked at me once more. Her lips formed a bewitching smile. Yo, she's coming over here. I think that was Mizumi. Fess's eyes were fixed on me, never once looking elsewhere. She slowly started approaching as if she had found her target, and she would finally arrive before my very eyes. She said, "Psych," it went back. As if I was her lover, she blew her sweet breath toward me and wrapped her arms around me. Yeah, let's just stare at the door for a bit, okay, game? Yeah. Boy, the things I pick from picking things. Her skin was slightly damp with sweat. I wonder how much of this was put back in by the mod that I'm using. Because I'm using the, what the hell is it called? The Committee of Zero mod, I think is what it's called. Her skin was slightly damp with sweat. Pressed up against me. I guess this is the truth they say about singing being exhausting, because I could feel her hot, ragged breath. She was holding me close and wrapping her thighs around you. Boy, that escalated very fast. Last time it was just she looked over at us and then carried on. Boy, these are some major decisions I'm making here. Shivers ran through my entire body like jolts of electricity. I did not consent to this. I wasn't able to push her aside, nor could I return her embrace. Yeah, get back on stage. Put your clothes on. Her followers cheered again, but this time the noises they made sounded more like screams. Chants of Fess echoing through the venue. Do it began to follow. No consent. Do it. Do what exactly? In a situation like this, what could they be talking about? I had no idea. Fess, meanwhile, just kept hugging me in silence. Well, this is really going to color our later interactions, isn't it? Seeking help, I looked for Mizumi's silhouette in the crowd. Yeah, Mizumi, help! You have experience with this. Tell me what to do. But when I found him, to my surprise, he was sharing an intense kiss with a girl in the crowd I'd never seen before. Okay, no, I'm not surprised by that at all. It wasn't just Mizumi-kun. The rest of the acolytes, boys and girls alike, were throwing their clothes off, getting as naked as the day they were born. Okay, game, when I said I wanted context for the troublesome scene from the last episode, this is not what I meant. Is this what the rest of the game is like when you pick green? Good God. Some embraced one another, others placed their lips together, and some were even beginning to do the deed. Game, settle down. I don't want to get banned off YouTube. I know I have like 50 subscribers, but geez. Hell screams of pandemonium complemented the gluttony for carnal pleasure. Moans, groans, and obscene sounds. Bloody hell. What's going to happen when I pick the green option when Anami's on the screen? This is a black mass. I finally realized this was an obscene feast hosted by the witch known as Fess. What's going to happen when I pick red? Are we all going to put our clothes back on? Maybe gather some blankets and read some Bible stories? What the hell? And more importantly, the sacrifice brought in for the witch today was me. I had been chosen as the partner for Fess. Boy, this new ending is wild as shit, and we've only gone to the first one. Is this really what a Phantasm concert was like? No! The other Phantasm concert was just fine. I was also beginning to lose myself in the atmosphere. I could feel a hazy mist engulfing my mind. I felt excitement toward what was to come, but also dread. I felt superior having been chosen, but also entranced by ecstasy. I thought I was going insane, like time, the world, had stopped completely. Yeah, let's just look at the door. Look at the door, okay? This is the only graphic we need. Fess's laughter reached my ears once more. Even in this flood of sound, I could hear her voice clear as day. What a sexy voice. Just hearing the sound of it put me on the verge of fainting. Man, this was what we were on the edge of picking the first time it happened. The first time we cruised through this option, I was like, oh, Fess somehow recognizes us because we're a Black Knight or whatever. It's like, no, pick a slightly different option, and suddenly, this. But Fess was seducing me into diving further and further into this melting pot of pleasure. Her teeth lightly sank into my earlobe. She let out a sigh right in my ear, and she whispered, there we go. Let's go crashing back down to reality. She whispered, whose eyes are those eyes? Why did I not see that coming? Oh, back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. You're so sexy, Fess. Wait till you find out she's in the classroom next to you. Sitting in front of the PC, I'd gotten lost in another delusion of mine. Oh my God, so it didn't happen. Okay, so we didn't even go to the concert. It was all a delusion. We stood Mizumi up, we sat here and we played MMOs. That's what happened. The concert I'd gone to earlier, never mind. I'd gone to earlier was great inspiration. After all, as far as 3D girls went, Fest was pretty nice. That said, the number of people in the crowd had been way too high. Hell would have to freeze over for me to go there again. I wanted GTFO basically the entire time. Okay, so today's delusion had been awesome. I beg to differ, but at least it was a delusion. Okay, maybe Phantasm and Fess actually did that kind of stuff. Nope, just in your delusion, buddy. Okay, let's just go. Oh, yeah. Hey, Neidhart, I'm always looking at you, Okay, already we gotta pick another green. Is Neidhart gonna take his clothes off? I don't think it's that kind of game. But I didn't think this was that kind of game, so I guess we're gonna find out. I gotta pick a positive. Hey, Neidhart, I'm always looking at you, Show me your butt. You aware of that? Is your butt aware of that? Here we go. What's the wild ride this time? The guide says positive and negative, not erotica, okay? It can't be erotica every time. Some of these involve my sister, for crying out loud. Hi, Neidhart. Let's go to the... I hadn't typed anything, and yet Neidhart still spoke. Let's go to the 2D world. Thinking it was just an optical illusion, I rubbed my eyes. Okay, so we really are picking delusions, because... Boy, the last one was really a delusion. This one seems like it will be, too. But the message was still there, displayed in the chat. Hey, let's go to the 2D world. Go to the 2D world? What was that supposed to mean? I don't know. Seems pretty self-explanatory. Even you can be a hero. We'll fight together. I'll take off my pants for you. Are you talking to me? You're not into 3D, right? You couldn't care less about it. I don't know. We had a pretty good 3D experience earlier today, but, you know. Well, yeah, but... Neidhart was speaking to me, the player controlling him. What the fuck? Okay, so... Again, the game is playing fast and loose with stuff. Delusions could just be made-up things. It's hard to be invested in what's happening when whatever is happening could just be in our imagination or just could be made-up bullshit. But I guess this is happening now. Did he have a will of his own after all? Also, how does this lead us to a new ending? Place your hand on the monitor. Oh god, we're gonna get isekai'd or whatever the hell it's called. You'll be able to enter Baselard as Nishiju Takumi. The password is, whose eyes are those eyes? I knew it before it even came up. What the hell else would the password be? But of course, I counter with JoJo reference, but I refuse. If I get the opportunity to go to the 2D world, I'm for sure picking an eroge. Yeah, okay. I love the offer, but your world sucks. I don't want to have to fight things. I just want to be surrounded by cute girls, like I'm going to be in, like, 3 chapters. Baselard is all yours, Neidhart. After replying, I used forced shutdown to turn off my computer, yeah. Equivalent to fuck that. Damn it, this was not the time. Okay, so we have basically gone through our day of encounters we don't enjoy. We ran into Fess again, but of course, since that whole thing was a delusion and a fantasy, she didn't really treat us any differently because it never happened. We just finished talking to Ban and Sua. We're about to talk to Remy for the first time. She's about to barge in and make us freak out. But this was not the time. And what we're saying is this is not the time for the God's gaze, essentially, but it is the time to make a choice. So we're going to make another positive. Can't wait to see what this one does. Maybe it is the time. When did I first started feeling the gaze? I'd long since forgotten. It slithered its way to each and every part of my life, bothering the shit out of me all the way. There were a lot of things that disturbed my peace, but the gaze was right up there with the Nami's, the most irritating thing I had to deal with. Fine, then let's do it. The it'll take more than that to make me turn around game. Oh, I think he'll be turning around in a minute. Remy may have something to say about that. Still fixated on my monitor, I try to think of some cool lines you'd hear in a manga. Come on out, you piece of shit! You think you can pull the wool over my eyes? How incredibly naive. And then... what happens? Oh, shit. The voice answered, or the gaze answered. Of course! How many times have I told you not to stand behind me? Wait, what? Huh? Wait, huh? Was that a woman's voice just now? Did Remy sneak in behind me and that's how we're going to segue into her being there? I don't think it's Saratan. Goosebumps stood up all over my butt. I told you. One of these days we were going to turn around and someone was just going to be there. Is that about to happen? I know it's coming and I'm still terrified. Had the reclusive owner of the gaze finally decided to show themselves? No, but there might be a wild Remy appearing. Was that even possible? Should I turn around and see who it was? But then you'll lose the game. But what if she attacked me the moment I did? It was a fairly cute sounding voice, but what if in reality a monster far removed from the human was standing there? Really gross monster, really cute voice. No. If that were the case, wouldn't that mean that they were getting ready to attack me right now? If I didn't turn around, I wouldn't even notice if they killed me. Maybe I should say something else to see if they'd respond. It was possible that the voice I'd heard was just a hallucination or a delusion or something. I guarantee it. So that'd help confirm it. And I mean, I talk to my Saratan figure all the time in my head. It had to be the same thing. What? I tried to be bold and ask, "Who are you?" but I hesitated. If I was to provoke the attacker, it could have very well spelled the end for me. It could have caused her to finally stop waiting and attack me. So many delusions ran through my head that I found myself completely paralyzed. Things just started appearing around me because I have a superpower I'm not aware of yet. What should I do? Maybe the whole thing was a product of my own design and I was just being the world's biggest dumbass. I swear if the owner of the gaze wasn't here and I'd just been sitting here trembling in fear over nothing, I was going to kill myself. So did Remy just let herself in instead of knocking because we picked this option? Spin! Spin? Oh god, it really wasn't a hallucination or a delusion. There's someone right behind me! Startled, I reflexively turned around. Ugh! Yeah! You are there. That's not the intro you had last time. No. Knock before you come in. The Demon Girl! Imagine this was your first introduction to her because you were picking things and she was just here. That's not cool. The Demon Girl. The girl sitting on the sofa was undeniably the same one I'd seen at the crucifixion crime. This is what happens when you don't lock your door, you absolute dipshit. And now for some reason I couldn't comprehend, she was just standing there looking at me, smiling. The reason is you didn't lock your door. Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Okay, I remember that line. She'd finally come to kill me. Okay, let's go to the next one. You know my name, don't you? See, it let me zip right past this for some reason. Maybe I'm pressing the wrong button. Maybe control is just skip everything and I need to start pressing the only skip the red text option. Maybe I've just been pushing the wrong button this whole time. Right on the money. 50 yen to you, contestant. How did I know Remy's name? Every time this happens in a game, it's like morphogenic field theory. Always. Yep, Sakihara Remy, reporting for duty. Wowee, you really do remember me. Well done. I can't figure out how to fix it. Maybe I'm just kind of screwed. Why is it skipping over red text? That's a real problem. Glad to hear it. Okay, well, I'm just going to have to keep my eyes open because the game is not doing what it's supposed to do. Maybe I can figure out why that is, but yeah, I guess I'll just see you in the next one. Alright, so with our next illusion trigger, we've run into Remy, very weirdly in our crate, in a different way than last time. We've now run into her in our class, which is why we bolted like hell up to the rooftop. Kazue's joined the class. We've went and gotten our absolutely terrible delusion sword and given Nanami her bangle, and it's time for us to pick our first red option, because we have gotten a phone call and a message, and we already know it's going to be the You May Pass song, or at least last time it was. We haven't checked the message yet. What's it going to be this time? Is the You May Pass song going to take its pants off for us? What's going to happen here? Which means that since I bought the cell phone, I'd only received 5 calls, 3 of which from her Nanami. The other 2 was from earlier today, and the one from 5 days ago that were shown as numbers instead of names, since they hadn't been registered. Yeah, that number. They were both from the same number. We got the other call when we were in our little booth at the manga cafe. And the 5th call just now, but they left a message this time. So, what's the message? Last time it was You May Pass. This time I'm picking things. It is probably not You May Pass. Is it a Rickroll? Never gonna give you up. Oh! What the hell? Okay, remember, this is a delusion, possibly, maybe. I still don't know what red means. But why are we getting a call from Kusunoki Yua, so not you may pass?
ごめんなさい。突然お電話。
Sorry for calling you so out of the blue like this. So we're both calls from Yua? Yua hasn't cornered us in the manga cafe yet. We haven't run from her yet. This is just kind of out of nowhere. Something I need to talk to you about no matter what. You were able to buy the new Sarah-chan figure. Well, good for you. I couldn't have done it without you. Yay, us. I'm very grateful. This is much better than the last message we got. It's very cute, but a little lewd, wouldn't you say? But that's the best part. When I was buying it, I was really embarrassed. Oh, that's right. Did you see this week's episode of Blood Tune? Okay, we're going to run into Shogun later, and he's going to be like, did you get our message? And we're going to be like, no, we got this message. What an incredible plot twist. My heart was pounding the entire time I was watching it. Don't you agree? Meanwhile, You May Pass is blaring in the background, but we're hallucinating this. Oh, by the way, you schizophrenic? You killed someone. Oh, fuck. Boy, you was just setting us up. Murderer. You're the true culprit. You will pay for your sins. Boy, she got me in the first half on that one. I won't let you escape. She's hiding. She's right behind us right now. Whose eyes are those eyes? Bloody hell, you! Yeah! Jeez! Even though it had been my own delusion, I was terrified. Yeah, me too. It was entirely possible for you to have gotten hold of my cell phone number from somewhere and called me after all. I didn't want to listen to the voice message anymore if I could help it. But since I'd already simulated the worst possible outcome of my delusions, I should have been able to handle it as long as I only had to listen to nothing else. Okay, so that's the delusion, and now we're going to listen to You May Pass? Shaking off my depression, I set the message to play back. Then after checking multiple times to make sure the demon girl wasn't there, I put the phone to my ear. Welcome to the voicemail service center. You have one new message. Voicemail number 1. Friday, October 17th, 8:28 a.m. Oh God, when does this... No, this doesn't come out on the 17th. It comes out a little bit after. It would be funny if this landed bang on. You may pass. There we go. All right. Well, we know what this is about. We'll just carry on. The fuck's this? Yeah, you... Still, the fuck's this? The police. We have spotted some police in the park. We are on the run from Yua. If you look over to your left, you will see Senna's dad hanging out up against the dumpster in his usual state. Of course, we didn't know it was Senna's dad at the time, but now we know. The Great King something or other. We'll see that sign in a second, but we're going to pick a negative on this. Yua is chasing us. After cornering us in the manga cafe, we managed to run like hell. And we'll be running into Fess soon. But the police, I gulped audibly. I remember that I'd been questioned by a pair of detectives a while back. That was Sua and Bon. Hadn't heard a single thing from them since. They said they were going to guard the area surrounding my base, but there was no sign of them following through on it. Also, they don't know where you live. And according to Mizumi-kun, they'd apparently come to investigate Sume. What are their names again? I couldn't remember. Psy'Min just said them. I told both of them the truth about what happened about the crucifixion, but in hindsight, I couldn't help but thinking that they clearly were looking at me with suspicion when I did. And right as I thought that, the policeman who had been talking to the homeless man glanced at me. Or at least that was how it felt. Well, it's about to feel real different, because you're going to have a delusion, buddy. Oh, no. Time for that delusion to rock. Hi, Senna's dad. Check that out. Terrifying thoughts ran through my head. Yep, because that's the option I picked, just to make your life miserable. I sat up and looked around the park once again. You going to see Yua? The man who had been sitting on a bench was staring at his cell phone while taking quick glances at me, or at least that's what it felt like. Okay, we just picked paranoia, essentially. I wonder if we're going to talk to Senna's dad at any point, because we do run into him. Is he going to look up and be like, oh, hey, it's you? Right then, a man with a stern face entered the park and sat down on the pipish fence, opened a newspaper, and started reading. Where's Yua? In a dark place with next to no streetlights. Oh, well, you're not fooling us. A man, seemingly a businessman, who had been walking quickly through the park, was now standing at the edge of the overpass, gazing down at the street below. Yeah, we are just wildly paranoid now. The policeman who had been talking to the homeless man was now looking at me while contacting someone on his police radio. Cold sweat crept down my back. No. Were these guys cops? Well, one of them is. Maybe they were tailing me. If that was true, I was completely surrounded. Yua had already made up her mind and decided that I was a murderer. Boy, you have no idea. That phone message, damn. And then, based on her delusions... Her delusions?! You think her delusions are bad? She'd probably gone and reported it to the police. You're kidding. I couldn't help but mutter that out loud, albeit at a volume low enough so that no one could hear me. Was this another part of Shogun's evil plan? I didn't do it! I didn't kill anyone! I'm not the murderer! Why should I, a coward who couldn't talk to people worth shit, be treated like a murderer and then subsequently chased by the police? Why did I have to get caught up in Yua's insane delusional bullshit? Her delusional bullshit? Regardless, I couldn't stay here. My chest still hadn't stopped pounding, and it hurt to breathe, but I still had to get out of here. I made my way over to the overpass, trying my best to look as natural as possible, and probably failing miserably. Right in front of me was a staircase leading down to Meijidori. I'd go down it, and then I'd escape using the road. No sign of Yua this time. I wonder if that's going to be mentioned before or if I'm going to skip right over it, because the skip text option still seems to be broken. Again, I wonder if that's a result of the mod I'm using. As I reached the middle of the overpass, a new figure appeared on the stairs. Aha! It was a woman, and judging from the suit, an office worker. Never mind, not Yua. She was holding a cell phone to her ear and talking with a blank expression on her face as she walked up the stairs. Could she be a detective too? I passed by her, my heart pounding the entire time. Everywhere we go, this phrase. Damn, whose eyes are those eyes? I hope I'm getting credit for uncovering all these references. Yeah, shirts with that phrase on them are going crazy right now. You know, I can't remember if I specifically talked about this, but I feel like the organization, whatever, was going out of their way to drive Bond crazy by saying his name over and over again from different sources, even doors making that noise. And it reminded me of Kazue kind of going nuts from constantly seeing mirrors and people asking, "Who are you?" And I wonder if this is just how they get under people's skin and drive them insane by just this sort of treatment, this sort of gaslighting. Because they got those rucksack guys going around getting people to do stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the end game for that is, but it just seems like what they do to just drive people to a place mentally that is not good. I'm going to go and buy one this Sunday. They sell them on Takashidodori, which is located at Harajuku. I felt really uncomfortable. Her speaking style was really awkward. It felt strangely theatrical. Yeah, exactly. Who the hell was she talking to anyway? Who was on the other end of the phone? Was she even talking to anyone at all? She's just talking to no one like Okabe does. But in the end, the woman took no action against me. I finally made it to the stairs, and it was with relative ease. Upon reaching them, I looked back toward the park. The cop wasn't following me. Dang, I picked a negative option. Things seemed to be going rather well, actually. He was standing in the same place as before, still talking into his police radio. One of the homeless people who had been sitting on the ground was starting to get up, but none of the other homeless people were moving. But then, before I knew it, the man on the bench and the man reading the newspaper both got up and started walking toward me. The two men then glanced at each other. They were exchanging looks, or at least it seemed like it. I then turned my gaze to the office worker once again. She had passed me a few moments ago, but now she turned her head to look at me. The second our eyes met, she turned back away with a start. Her cell phone was still held up to her ear, but she wasn't speaking anymore. I was hit with an amount of fear that I had never experienced before, and I immediately bolted down the stairs. As I round down Meijidori toward the station, I looked up at the overpass. The office worker was leaning over the railing and pointing at me. And it wasn't just her. 2 men were sprinting across the overpass. They really were cops. All of them were cops. Everyone's a cop. Even said his dad there's a cop. Shit. This was all Yua's fault. She set me up. Hey, Yua didn't even come to the park this time. Should I just tell them I was innocent? But even if I did, I couldn't get away from the fact that I was literally running away from the police right now. Besides, I was sure that the police would find some way to pin it on me regardless. Again, if they really wanted to pin things on you, they know where you live. You are there 85% of the time. They would never believe in a otaku freak like me. I didn't have time to think about what would happen next. For now, I just needed to get away from Yua and the police. That was the sole thought occupying my mind. I passed under a pedestrian overpass and ran up the stairs leading to it. There were people everywhere. All of them were blocking my path. It felt as if each and every one of them were deliberately getting in my way. Like they all had some sort of malicious intent. I think we've got to this point before. Let's go ahead and skip. Alright, so we're back at our next illusion. I believe we are picking a positive as we give examples of people's realities just being weirdly influenced by stuff. Like a person who was blind. If you hooked up a video display thing to their brain so that they could only see what you showed them via video, and then you showed them an anime, they would think, oh, that's what the real world looks like, that sort of thing. Here's another example, this time in green. If person A sent an image from their brain to a hard disk recorder that processed it and transmitted the image to person B's brain, then person A's delusion would become person B's reality. God, what a terrifying concept with people like you around. Delusion becoming reality. In theory, it was possible. Holy shit, I was a genius, Lamau. You might be about to be a genius, because we're picking green. I was over the moon by how brilliant my theory was. Maybe that's how I acquire a D-sword. Ase had said they had something to do with delusions, hadn't she? Alright, I should hurry up and go home so I can look it up. After we find out what happens when I do this. I left the classroom and headed for the school entrance, refusing to let my eyes wander anywhere. As I made my way out, I stuck to my usual routine, walking as close to the wall as I could, all while keeping my head low so that I wouldn't stand out. I feel like this is the same dialogue we got before. The final bell had already rung a little bit ago, so while the students on cleaning duty or doing club shit were still around, basically everyone who'd opted to go straight home already had. School always felt somewhat lonely or even wistful after the final bell rang. No matter where I went, it always felt that way, whether they were ancient buildings made out of wood or newer structures like Sume. Well, not that I'd ever set foot in any wooden school buildings in anything other than Eroge. As I unconsciously walked through the corridor into the setting sun, my mind wandered around all sorts of inconsequential stuff, and I spotted a strange figure coming toward me. Who is it? Senna? It was a single girl waddling forward, carrying 2 large cardboard boxes. Causeway? Remy? I couldn't see her face behind the boxes, and she probably couldn't see a thing in front of her. You're about to trip, aren't you? Somebody was asking to eat shit. Well, what Psy'Min said, but in different language. If this were an Eroge, this scenario would 100% result in us running into each other and me tripping a flag. I thought about attempting to do just that, but concluding that it'd be best to keep it as just a thought, because in reality I didn't actually want to do that. Instead, my alarm bells started going off. This was a legitimate possibility that she was one of Shogun's assassins. Man, remember back when we were in this mentality? Damn. I don't miss it. Stay away from her. Be extremely careful. Who is it? I paid careful attention to each one of her steps. She kept drawing nearer, sometimes tilting to the left or to the right. I, meanwhile, kept walking along the left wall of the corridor. As the girl started moving to her right, I sped up. We then passed each other without any issues. And everything was great. But right then I heard something fall, and I quickly turned my gaze downward without even thinking. Someone had dropped their student handbook. I stopped in my tracks. Had the girl with the boxes dropped it? As I stared at the student handbook, my thoughts began to wander. Doubt arose in my mind. Why had that student handbook fallen at that exact moment? It was way too conspicuous. It was practically begging to get picked up. This is another Whose Eyes Are Those Eyes reference. Was it a trap? Had she dropped it on purpose? The girl had been carrying boxes with both hands. Her hands were occupied. If the student handbook had been in her skirt pocket, it would have been entirely impossible for her to take it out and drop it. However, I hadn't seen where it had fallen from. Maybe the girl had been holding it from the very beginning, hiding it beneath the boxes. I wasn't sure. It might not have been on purpose. The more realistic option was that it was just a coincidence. I followed the girl's figure with my eyes, or tried to, anyway.
Huh?
At that precise moment, the girl took a turn down the hall and disappeared. I had only seen her for a split second. She hadn't looked like someone I knew. Her hair had been short, I think. No, maybe it had been long, actually. I couldn't say for sure which. Naturally, I hadn't seen her face either. When I'd passed her, it had been hidden behind the boxes. The student handbook and I were now alone in the hallway. The sensible option probably were to either pick it up and deliver it to the staff room, or rush after the girl and ask her about it, but I was hesitant to carry out either. I looked around me. There were no other students in sight. I could somewhat make out the sound of girls laughing happily in the distance. It probably wasn't a trap. The handbook's owner had already left. How could this possibly end up being a trap? Could there be a small bomb hidden inside the handbook? No, that was way too unrealistic. That was almost as unrealistic as my fantasy about Fess at the concert. If I picked up the handbook right at that moment, nothing would happen. Yeah, nothing was going to happen. Just in case, I should check the handbook to see who the girl was. She could have been one of Shogun's underlings. I should check her name, class, and photo, then leave the handbook here. I couldn't be fucked to go after her and give it back. It's going to say whose eyes are those eyes? Or it's going to be the scribble of the crucifixion or something. Nevertheless, I still carefully scanned the area just to be sure no one was around. Then, after I was sure I was alone, I picked up the handbook and casually opened it to the first page. Yeah. Exactly. And an emoji. With a blanked out image, face, and inked out ID, everything. I hurriedly threw the handbook away. What was that? I'd never been so creeped out before. It was so unbelievably eerie. You know, it'd be a lot creepier if it hadn't happened 20 times already, but, you know. It didn't just scare me. I felt sick to my stomach. This was so very clearly malicious, blatant harassment aimed specifically at me. Who would go so far as to do this? Wait, of course, it had to be the girl from before. That girl actually was Shogun's underling. She had to be. I'd only glanced at the student handbook, but all the information that should have been on the first page, such as the name, the birth date, and the class, were all blacked out. In addition, the portrait that should have been attached had been removed. I felt like I was going to puke. Well, there's an open window right there. Someone 3 stories down is about to have a bad day. I was hit with an intense wave of nausea. I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. Covering my mouth, I moved toward the stairs. I ran through the courtyard with no real destination in mind until I could no longer hold back the urge to vomit. Is this... We vomited before. Is this when Remy comes and finds us? Blah! Yeah, stomach acid made my throat burn. Blah, 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 all-nighter. We've seen this CG. Is this when Remy comes up behind us? Someone save me? Dry heaving. There we go. This is when Remy comes to say hi. Okay, we've seen this bit. You're okay. I guess we just found a new reason to vomit rather than the reason we had before. Moving on. Basically, we just had a thought about how we owe something to the transfer student for distracting Mizumi, and all of a sudden Kazue is like, because of course she could read our mind. This reminds me, Remy made allusions to reading our mind during our first encounter with her, too. So we really need to establish how many people can do this and to what extent. But I guess we pick a negative option now. By the way, in regard to the last option, that was positive. That was me picking a positive outcome. That was not positive. That was not positive in the slightest, so I can't wait to see how this goes. Hey, Kazue, you see me picking red? Oh, you're not going to like this. Speak of the devil, there she was passing right next to me, regretting her life choices. With a face that looked like she was about to cry because she saw me click red, she bowed her head to me. Despite how uncomfortable I felt, I managed to nod back. I watched as she attempted to leave through the school gate, tripping over herself along the way. Once again, I thought how small she was. She fit the lolly archetype to a T. And on top of that, she was a clumsy girl, too. Oh, God, we're about to have another... I mean, last time when we had that scene with Fest, that was a green. This is a red. I didn't know her very well, but her perfect blend of personalities made me want to shout from the rooftops. She was loaded with moe traits. And yet she didn't seem very popular with the other girls. What people valued in others really did differ between 2D and 3D, huh? Man, this is going on for a bit. Where's the scene? Here we go. All right, what did I just ask for, and how much am I going to regret it? My vision suddenly went pitch black. I felt something push against my eyes. What the hell? Someone snuck up behind you? Who is it? Well, it's not Kazue because she doesn't talk. No fucking way. Could this be the legendary Who Is It game? The legends state that it only exists within the world of 2D, yet she said the classic line. Could it be? Could it well and truly be? I never thought I'd ever experience this in my lifetime. As of right now, I'd basically won the game of life. God, this guy's standards are so low it makes me cry. Oh. I heard the wheelchair. Of course, I immediately knew the answer. After all, I was trained in the art of working out the voice actor just by hearing an anime character talk. Well done. It sounded like Kazue, but Kazue doesn't talk. Oh, never mind. But saying it's obviously you, Remy, would have been pretty embarrassing. How should I answer? No. I heard the wheelchair squeak. We're about to lose the game hard. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that game. What was that? Yeah, guess who? Guess who, Takumi? Guess who? Guess who it is? So, don't know the answer? There was someone there. I could sense the presence of someone other than Remy. Since my vision was obscured, my hearing was particularly sensitive. In the location where we were now, someone other than Remy and I was there. And there was the sound of creaking metal. God, that sound is going to haunt my nightmares for years after this game. Oh, God. Whose eyes are those eyes? They're not your eyes, because we're covering them. They're not your eyes, they're my eyes. Your eyes are my eyes. My body was instantly seized by fear. I tried to shake off Remy's hand, but she held it firmly. Hey, where do you think you're going? Answer the question, silly. No cheating allowed. This was weird. Something was very, very wrong here. This was not like my fantasies. Why was she acting so carefree? Hadn't she noticed it? Or was she just pretending not to? I couldn't stand the fear of not being able to see what was going on, so I grabbed the delicate hands covering my eyes and ripped them away. Taku? Remy fought back even harder. Damn! We ended up wrestling a bit with each other. Remy collided with my back. I felt the soft sensation of her bulging chest. Of course you did. But now wasn't the time to rejoice in that fact. That's what Chapter 9 is for. Let me go! I somehow managed to shove Remy's hands aside and jump away. I then turned back toward her. Okay, no Shogun. Where is he? Where's Shogun? The only thing I saw was Remy, standing there with a bewildered look. I looked around the area trying to find a wheelchair, but there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. He isn't here. That doesn't... I couldn't see him anywhere. Not in the large sports courts and not by the entrance. There wasn't a single sign of an old man riding in a wheelchair. I'm sorry, Taku. Did I scare you? Remy looked very apologetic. It didn't seem like an act either. Was there someone there just now? What? An old man in a wheelchair. Remy tilted her head. I don't think so. I didn't see anyone. Huh. Were they with you before I got here? No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I became less and less confident in my assumption, even though I was so sure I heard those things. The sound of a wheelchair creaking, Shogun's chuckle. It's like he was mocking me. And whose eyes are those eyes? Had I hallucinated it? Was I really that anxious? That was probably it. There was probably nothing more than that.
大丈夫だよ。
It's okay. Remy smiled at me, except it felt forced this time.
私が一緒に帰ってあげる
I'll
から
walk home with you, so
怖が
there's
ら
no
ない
need to
で
be afraid. Okay? This is after our little chat in the courtyard about how she's not going to leave my side. Relief flooded into me from her words. Then, guided along by Remy, we headed toward the school gate. Okay, that's probably it for that, so let's move on to the next one. And this was from us trying to phone Remy for comfort after encountering Shogun here. But we get to pick a thing here, I think. And this time it's going to be positive. Whether it's going to be actually positive or not, we'll see, because I don't feel like the green and the red have had a very consistent correlation with positive and negative just yet. But we haven't been able to get a hold of Remy, so we hung up the phone, wrapped our arms around ourselves. We have a present on the way. Is Nanami's hand already in our crate? Before I knew it, my body had started trembling. I was more afraid of Shogun than I thought I was. Well, why wouldn't I be? He was a homicidal maniac posing as a handicapped person. He'd already committed 5 unspeakable crimes. You're thinking of Hazuki. And I was the next one in his sights. Somebody save me! Remy? Remy, are you going to be here this time? Oh god, she's actually just here. She just busted in. Last time we didn't see her at all. We didn't see her until way after the earthquake. So now she's just like, boom. Taku! Wow, that actually was pretty positive. Damn. It was as if my prayers had been answered. Like the cries of my heart had been heard. Remy really did always appear whenever I was in trouble. She opened the door and leapt into my room. Remy, save me! Get this hand out of here! Remy looked straight at me, then quickly examined our surroundings. Immediately realizing that the source of terror was my PC, she began typing on the keyboard with an angry expression. Fuck off, Shogun! Shut your mouth, stupid! Remy's telling Shogun, leave Taku alone or I'll kick your butt. You have to be ruthless at times like this. Yeah, she knows who Shogun is. No, that's not Shogun, that's Shugun. That's right. We're not dealing with this is Suwa. This is Suwa fucking with us. This isn't Shogun. That's right, the typo. I forgot about that. Yeah, Suwa, piss off. You have to be ruthless at times like this. Remy looked back at me and smiled gently. If you're real upfront with them, the bullies will back off a lot easier than you'd think. Was that really how it worked? Remy was only that reckless because she didn't know much about the internet. Being that blunt would only make the other person even madder. Well, especially Suwa. And here the other person was Shogun. No, it's Shugun. As I stared at the monitor with bated breath, Shogun sent yet another message. Well, that's new. Also, are we going to notice the typo? I feel like that's something we should be cluing into. You're dead. Left the room. Well, that didn't go well. Remy, I have some bad news. Yeah, I don't think that worked as well as you thought it would. The room went silent. What the hell? Man, what kind of ending have I set myself up for here? I knew it. It really had pissed him off. The tone of his last message was very clearly different. Whoopsies. He's all talk, I promise. It's not like some random person would take that personally enough to come barging in here or something. Again, he knows where you live. More importantly, are you doing okay, Taku? Sorry I missed your call. I was already almost here, so I figured I'd just wait till I saw you in person. That's not what happened last time. After the earthquake hit, I was so worried about you that I ran here as fast as I could. Is that your story this time? And I'm glad I did. While I was listening to Remy's voice, I couldn't take my eyes off the monitor. His message had left me deeply unsettled. You're dead. Why the hell? But I'm here now, so everything's A-okay. You don't have to worry about a thing. I mean, we did pick the positive option. Why the hell did you do that? He'll kill me. He's gonna kill me. I have to get out of here fast. Does Remy recognize that that's not Shogun, or does she think that it was? Calm down. He's not gonna kill you. You're overthinking. Uh-oh. Why'd her eyes go empty? Suddenly Remy went silent. Her eyebrows furrowed, and she looked up at the ceiling. What's wrong? Whose eyes are those eyes? Her voice was a soft murmur. Suddenly Remy's face contorted, and she grabbed at her head with both hands. My head! It hurts! Again, something like that happened during that last scene in the other episode. Where's Rucksack Guy? It hurts! It feels like it's gonna split in two! Unable to endure the pain anymore, Remy fell to the floor. She was shaking her head madly. Where did this come from? Ugh. Don't tell me. My gaze shot toward the ceiling. No, not the ceiling. Toward the sky, beyond the ceiling. Toward an artificial satellite that might or might not exist. Was Shogun attacking? The funny thing is, all of these scenes are technically optional because there's basically 18 key scenes that bring us to the ending that I'm shooting for right now, but we only have to see 10 of them, which means we could see this, we could not see this. Yeah, it hurts, my head's gonna split open. Boy, if it is, that's really gonna change the tone of the rest of the game. Plip. A drop of blood fell from Remy's nose. Suddenly her half-moans, half-screams ceased. Remy's body shook violently as she staggered, and then she dropped to the floor head first. Ow! Remy? There was no answer. She didn't even twitch. Boy, this doesn't seem optional. He'd killed her. Using a satellite, using EM waves or something, Shogun had killed Remy. How? That had been so quiet. He'd killed Remy with neither sound nor smell, without even a hint of his presence. It had been way too quiet, but that had only made it even more terrifying. Is Remy actually dead? There are many scenes that she's involved with later. There was no escape. I kneeled to the floor and shook Remy's shoulder. Again, should this not be optional? Hey, wake up, Remy. Wake up. No, you have plot armor. You have to get back up. There was no escape. No matter where I went on Earth, there would be no escape. Don't leave me alone. Wherever I would try to flee, Shogun would be able to attack from high above in the sky. This can't be. This can't be real. The hell? Oh, of course, it was only a delusion. Fuck me. When I returned to my senses, I was still in front of the monitor. The answer Remy had written earlier had vanished. And Shogun's "You're dead" had too. I looked back toward the rest of my room, and Remy's body was nowhere to be found. Of course. I keep forgetting it's just a delusion. Some of these things are delusions. Some of them aren't. Wait a minute. Have any of them not been delusions yet? Maybe I'm just playing myself. I felt that Remy wasn't actually dead. Yep, true enough. But I was disappointed she hadn't shown up. Why wasn't she here yet? She doesn't appear until later. Haven't you watched the Let's Play? Alright, moving on. Okay, so now we're coming back to this bit. Now, again, I've been trying to use the skip feature. I've been having faith in the game that it's going to stop when I hit text that I haven't seen before. It lies. It lies badly. And the reason I know that is because I blasted through this scene, and then I went back through the log, and there's definitely new dialogue here. Because last time we went through this, we didn't know anything about Suwa. We didn't know he was a bad guy. We didn't know anything about Hazuki. We didn't know she was a bad guy. And they were just having a discussion about, oh no, Suwa needs certain records released to prevent victims. As a last resort, Suwa got on his knees. Please stop, I really can't. It's for the sake of preventing any more victims. Hazuki had no idea what she could do to make him give up. Unable to think of any proper way to say no, Hazuki could do nothing but stammer. Now, last time I think the scene more or less ended here. But this time, Suwa and Hazuki suddenly went silent, then looked up at the ceiling. Then they looked back down and stared at each other. After Suwa sighed, Hazuki's perplexed expression suddenly changed. We're not being watched anymore. Whose eyes are those eyes, am I right? Yeah, they felt the gaze, and now the gaze is gone, and now they're just like, okay, now we can chill. Suddenly an air of familiarity was injected into the words that the two exchanged. The sense that the two could not be anything other than old friends was loaded into their every word. Did you find the original Nishiji Takumi? Yeah, we're now in very much spoiler territory. No, but I know that he's somewhere in this hospital. Yeah, he's hiding in his room behind the black wall. These are his medical records. He's known to suffer from somnambulism. In sharp contrast to how resistant she had been to hand it over before, Hazuki readily passed the medical record to Suwa now. She had already had it in her possession, as if she had somehow predicted that Suwa would pay her a visit. You're the best. Alrighty then, on to the next stage. We're going to lead him to O-Front, and then we'll force him to awaken. So yeah, this is right after the earthquake. And this is when Shogun is going to tell him to go on to O-Front and grab his sword, which we're not going to do. Are you planning to make contact with him? Yup. But I'm going to hide my face. It's time for Darth Spider to make an appearance. With a mischievous smile, Suwa placed a gentle kiss on Hazuki's lips. Let's get this cosplay party started. Yeah. Darth Spider up in this bitch. Alright. Interesting dialogues that we're getting. That we keep skipping because the game won't stop. Anyway, let's go find out what I missed next time. Alright, time for our next delusion. This is immediately after exactly the conversation Hazuki was having with Suwa about us on O-Front, trying to get our sword. They sure did contact us. That cosplay party sure got started, and it ended poorly. We are now here, and regardless, why had I been brought here? We are still not finding our bearings, but we are about to pick something negative. And I can't wait to see how this goes badly for us. Hazuki, be good. If Hazuki-san was here, then that meant this was my normal hospital. It wasn't like me being brought to a general hospital was particularly weird, but something still didn't feel right. Hazuki? Why was Hazuki-san coming to check on me? That question really bothered me. It's bothering me too, but for different reasons. I mean, Hazuki-san was a psychiatric nurse. If Hazuki-san was coming to check on me, didn't that mean that the room I was in was also used by psychiatric patients? Uh-oh. I've been informed that the police would like to speak with you. Oh, here comes Suwa, huh? Hazuki's gentle tone turned cold, and her eyes are doing that thing that I hate. Without looking at me, she continued writing something on a piece of paper attached to a clipboard. She's doodling! She's doodling! She's drawing a Fraggle being stabbed! Suwa, are you about to come in? You would have to be a really horrible person to kill your own sister. Hey, fuck you! You killed your own baby, alright? Don't talk to me. What did she just said? Yeah, no shit. Okay, we have to remember, this is all delusion. He's just wildly fantasizing this. They found her in your house. We don't have a house. Her corpse. It's a crate. It's literally a crate. What? You cut off your sister's hand and carried it around with you. That's not normal. Yoshikage Kiro would beg to differ, but alright. I didn't kill anyone. So you've claimed. The detective has been complaining about how useless it is to converse with you. You say nothing but incomprehensible nonsense. Are you intending to plead not guilty by reason of insanity? I don't want to hear about that from you. Even if you do, it won't help. Everyone knows. You killed her. My chest squeezed tightly and I began to hallucinate that everything before my eyes had gone completely black. The fact of the matter is, yes, this is a hallucination that we're having, but this is also something that Hazuki would bullshit us on, given what we know about her from the future. I was starting to doubt myself. Had I killed the Nami? No, that couldn't be true. Ah, you murderer! Also, she is in cahoots with the one who actually did it, not that we know that. She had been writing something, but suddenly Hazuki's hand stopped. She then slowly turned the clipboard toward me. Whose eyes are those eyes? It's not the doodle, right? Yeah, figures. Let me just keep finding these references for my 100% completion. I wonder what the number's up to on my options screen. Also, if these are hallucinations, how are they manipulating our path through the game? I'm curious about that too. Are these hallucinations going to fuel some mega hallucination at the end or something? Suddenly I realized I was sitting in the same bed in the same hospital room. I wasn't sure why the sheet I'd just ripped off me was still on me. Hazuki-san, who had been standing right beside the bed, had disappeared before I could even blink. Wiping the greasy sweat off my forehead, I looked around the hospital room once again. And I'm back. After a couple of knocks, Hazuki-san entered the room, and her eyes widened slightly upon seeing me. Oh! I see you've woken up, Nishiju-san. A gentle smile accompanied her as she said that. I stiffened up, then looked away. Yeah, she still needs to tell us our sister is fine. How are you feeling? Hazuki-san held out a thermometer to me so naturally I couldn't help but take it. Could you please stick this under your arm for me? Could you please get bent? As I took the thermometer from her, I gulped. It's the same. The exact same thing from before was repeating. It was as if Hazuki-san had just walked into the hospital room for the first time. I didn't comment on that, but yeah, it is curious that the hallucination that we just had technically started from before I picked the hallucination, because Hazuki was already there. But now she's coming in again and repeating herself, which is curious. How did we know what she was going to do? Why are we having premonitions? Again, what is this laying the groundwork for? I nervously reached for the thermometer in my underarm. I was sure I had put a thermometer in there just a minute ago, and yet there was nothing there. The thermometer had disappeared, which meant that what I'd seen earlier really had been a delusion before I chose delusion. The tension in my body disappeared, but that didn't mean that my state of mind was any better, nor that I felt anywhere close to relieved. A family member of yours came to see you yesterday, but as you didn't regain consciousness in time, they left at around midnight. Your mother informed us that she'll be arriving at around the time we open. I nodded in response, not having the energy to say anything back. Mom, I'm sorry for being such a disgrace. I'm an embarrassment to Japan, no to the entire world. I'm pretty sure this is all the same. The entire thing had been televised. I was sure my shameful behavior had been uploaded to YouTube as well. I had no idea why I'd been made into the amazing Esper boy. It didn't make any sense to broadcast my every move. But, yeah, we're probably going to find out. Oh yeah, your sister was here too, blah, blah, blah. So let's move on. Hey, if you want mine here, so this is obviously when we were hanging out with Senna and Kazue eating Crunchy Coons. We have a winner. Senna does not. So, hey, if you want mine here, psych, I'm going to pick red. We'll see how that goes. I timidly held out my winning stick to this loser. I have no intention of accepting handouts. I'm merely experimenting with my own possibilities. Ah, but what if we hallucinated that you did? But Senna-chan's heart says she really wants it, you know. She likes her some Crunchy Coons. You can have it. I don't need a whole lot of popsicles, because I'm not, 5. Let's see how this goes. I'd said it with good intentions in mind, but Senna simply took one look at me before ignoring the offer. Oh, that's a face! That's a new expression. And then for some reason she handed me a popsicle stick instead. What the hell is with that look? Yeah. She made no attempt to explain herself either. I wasn't sure what she was expecting, since I wasn't exactly going to get ecstatic over a losing popsicle stick that didn't even belong to me. Was she just silently ordering me to toss it in the trash can near the convenience store or something? Considering it was her and all, it certainly was in the realm of possibility. Senna must have had a whole host of meek male subjects that she used to do her dirty work. Wouldn't shock me. She was pretty much insulting me to my face, but just the thought of what she'd do if I defied her scared me far too much, so I just bit my lip and put up with it. I won! Her gaze fixed on the sky that peeked between the buildings, Senna declared her supposed victory. With a sigh, I inadvertently looked down at the losing popsicle stick and gasped. Whose eyes are those eyes? What the hell was this? When did they start making these? It came out last week. An exclusive Shibuya one. Oh! Oh, did it now? Definitely a hallucination, but it would be funny if that was true. It's worth more than a normal winning stick. It's like 5 winning sticks. Senna had a smug expression on her face as she explained. Was she just trying to brag? And I won. What the hell kind of competition she even won? And besides, I didn't want anything to do with these winning sticks, especially with how in poor taste they were. I was tempted to snap the stick right in half on the spot, but I swallowed back my anger and returned it to Senna. More importantly, you are? Oh, she hasn't even gotten our name yet, jeez. Takumi-san, huh? What? No! You don't need the Sean part. What's your full name? Well, I guess we're going down the actual route now, but yeah, apparently Senna got a whose eyes are those eyes popsicle stick. Man, isn't that great that phrase is literally freaking everywhere. Moving on. So, Gladiole, I remember that name. We have reached the hospital. We've not had a very fun time. We've seen the whose eyes are those eyes towel, we've seen the black wall, and we've seen the stupid doodle that, what's-her-face, Hazuki made. And then we finally tracked down Ayase after seeing her give Remy the bitch slap side of her hand. And now that we've tracked her down in her bedroom here in the hospital, Gladiole, I remember that name. We're just talking about how we, the Black Knights, are supposed to be the ones that are supposedly going to fight Gladiole or whatever. And I guess we're going to go negative on this one. Okay, keep your clothes on this time, Ayase. Jeez. I'd seen that term back when I'd first been researching D-swords. It seemed it was a term used in literature relating to the legend of Gladiole, or more specifically a sword in it. Ayase would know more. As I continued to think, Mizumi-kun quietly got up and started to walk toward me. Oh, well, this is how things are going to go negative. He went to go right past me, but just before he did, he put his hand on my shoulder. I can't keep up with this anymore. Rest up to you, dude. With a sigh of exasperation, he made to leave the room. But this time, because last time he just left and we had some chance to talk with Ayase. Stop. Uh-oh. This waving effect on the screen, is this when we're having a delusion? Because this has happened a couple of times. We'll see when it stops. Ayase had finally said something to Mizumi-kun, but she'd done so with a grim expression on her face. I wasn't sure why. I will not allow you to leave. Why?
Huh?
Oh? What, you actually gonna give me the time of day now? Yes, verily so. It's 5:28. After all, I have long since known that you are a servant of the wicked-hearted king. Oh, really? Is Mizumi-kun actually going to be a thing? Because right now he's just sort of this friend that we kind of hallucinated into our very small circle of friends. Not even with his awareness. Is he actually going to be a servant of the wicked-hearted king? Because that would track. But again, this is a delusion, so this is probably not real. What even? Another part of her insane storyline? Mizumi-kun looked pretty annoyed at being dragged into Ayase's bullshit. A pretty justified response, to be honest. It wasn't even funny as a joke. However, Ayase seemed quite serious. You gonna run and grab your sword? It's a little ways away. Takumi. As she called my name, Ayase took out something that looked like a fruit knife from beneath the bedsheets, then threw it over to me. Oh, snap, that's from the fruit bowl you got from Sua. Surprised, I hurriedly went to catch it. While the knife fortunately had a guard on it, I still came close to cutting my hand. Kill him. I'd prefer not to. When Ayase said that, she was looking at Mizumi-kun. What kind of batshit insane plot twist was this? Bewildered, I held the knife with a trembling hand. Hey now! What, you're telling him to kill me? Is that kind of a dick move, all things considered? Well, I know you can't stand me, Kishimoto, but I didn't know it was this bad. Never would have thought you'd say it to my face, either. So, what was it again? Graviton? Wicked hard? Not that I've got a goddamn clue what any of it means. Either way, put the knife down, Taku. I trust you're smart enough to ignore Kishimoto's crazy delusions. I don't know, man. I clicked red. This may not go well for you. They are no delusions. Takumi, do not let his words misguide you. Mizumi-kun's expression stiffened and he took a step away from Ayase. You have a sword, do it yourself. There's something wrong with you. Takumi, you must kill him quickly. We cannot let him expose your existence to Gladio. I'm pretty sure everyone's aware of my existence at this point. I got gods staring at me from the sky. With the knife in my hand, I slowly placed it back on Ayase's lap. Takumi, you do it! The things you're saying are completely insane. Well, that's a graphic I think we saw once before very briefly. She looked up at me with sad eyes. It doesn't matter how you look at me. How the hell do you expect me to kill Mizumi-kun? This had nothing to do with Gladiol or whatever. Killing someone would make me a criminal, and that's not going to happen. Simple as that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to do it. I just don't want to go to jail. That's my bro. I knew you'd side with me, Taku. Mizumi-kun clapped his hand on my shoulder, and then stabbed me. And then, casually as can be without a care in the world, oh, was I right? He grasped the knife on Ayase's lap. See ya, you schizo bitch. And then without stopping even once, he removed the guard from the knife before immediately slashing outward. Well. Blood spurted from her neck with blistering speed. Some splashed against my face. It was hot, very hot. Ayase's eyes were wide with shock. Yeah, me too. She was looking straight at me. Her body then slowly collapsed onto the bed. The pure white sheets were stained crimson. Yeah, geez, okay. Sucks to be you, Taku. That was your last chance to stop the resurrection of Gladiol. I would like to believe that this is actually going to be a thing, but it's probably not. He's just fantasizing. I couldn't even scream. You should have trusted Kishimoto. As he said that, Mizumi-kun got on top of Ayase's splayed out body. Oh, now, hang on a second. No. We're already flirting with the band gods. Don't you dare do what I think you're going to do. Don't you dare do Mizumi things. Then without even a hint of hesitation, he gouged out her eyeballs. Okay, you know what? That's actually a lot safer than what I thought you were going to do. And yet, her body didn't move. It didn't even twitch. Mizumi-kun turned toward me, and with a cruel smile, he murmured, "Whose eyes are those eyes?" Of course. Is every single delusion just I knew whose eyes are those eyes? Okay, back to reality. When I came to, Ayase, who should have been covered in blood, was simply sitting on the bed completely unharmed, and Mizumi-kun was nowhere in sight. Yeah, these delusions are literally just that. I'm not sure how they affect a new ending. Had that been a delusion? Of course we have the power to make delusions reality. Some of these we should absolutely not be under any circumstances. Like that one. I let out a deep sigh of relief. That had definitely been a nasty one. Feeling guilty, I apologized to Ayase inside my head, as you should. But since she couldn't hear my thoughts, maybe, Ayase just went on with her schizo babbling. It is all a divine revelation. Is that what that is? Is that what that is? Is that what I've been choosing? I should have already assembled in Shibuya. The 7 Black Knights. Okay, so yeah, we're back on track. The screen is not wobbly anymore. Moving on. Okay, that voice. So now we have fast forwarded to the point where we are in the second last chapter. Bon has just been shot. Yua is at the hospital as well, about to have a time and get her D-sword. And we are now at the point where we might actually see Nanami for the first time in a very long time. And have a little conversation about what happened to her hand, because that's still been a mystery ever since we were on the top of O-Front. So we're almost at the point. I mean, we're going to have this conversation, and then we're going to head to Shibuya, actually get our sword, and have our showdown with Grim. But for now, we're going to pick a green light and hope for the best. It couldn't be. How is Nanami here? You big jerk. There was no way I'd misheard that. Out of every girl that visited my base, there was only one dumbass that would scream outside of it like that. Nanami was here. Sure was. I was somewhat surprised at how indifferent I felt in response to that fact. I just didn't care. What would her coming here while I was this far gone even do for me? I've been trying to keep an eye out for new text as well, but I haven't seen anything. I'm sure there has been something. I've just been flying right past it because the game has no concept of what is read and what is not read text for some reason. Besides, it wasn't like it was out of the ordinary for Nanami to come here. Hadn't Remy said she was going to rescue her anyway? Yeah, that hasn't happened yet. If you don't open the door right now, then you're really mean. Well then, the noise was starting to irritate me. Just leave a monster like me alone. Nanami should have been focused on her right hand and not me. Not that I knew what had happened to it. You're about to find out. I didn't have it in me to talk to anyone anymore. Oni! Man, what's a green light going to lead to here? But she was being too loud, so I was forced to get up from my chair and head to the door. The door seemed oh so far away to me, which made me realize I was scared to see her. Well, I'm picking a green light, so let's see how that changes. Am I going to get shot? Is she going to have a bionic hand? Oh, there you are. Routine survival check. I'm pretty sure this is a new CG too, which is odd considering it's immediately after the delusion and nothing's actually happened. Routine survival check. As I opened the door, Nanami smiled and waved at me. I froze in place. She was acting way too normal. She was acting way too energetic. I'd seen it. A white bandage wrapped around her right wrist. Yeah, I see it too. So why? I then remembered the phone call I'd gotten a few hours earlier. Yeah, give me back my right hand. I actually stopped to see if the text on that changed, and it's like, nope, she actually says the same thing there. If anything was going to change, you'd think it'd be that, but nope, the pained voice asking me to give her right hand back. And now the smile she had right now, and the bandage around her right wrist, contradicted each other. Nanami was contradicting herself. Oh, I see. She was also a delusion. She had to be. Yep. Bro knows I clicked the green light. He knows. I'd never had a little sister named Nanami to begin with. I got it now. That had to be it. Technically, she is a delusion, kind of, because we know she's being projected by a rucksack guy. After ignoring her and heading back into my room, I sat down on the sofa. So what's going to change? I once again took hold of my Saratan figure and gripped her tight. So tight, in fact, that the hand hurt slightly, but it didn't matter too, because that pain was also a delusion. What's wrong, big bro? You don't look like you're doing too hot. I feel like this is all the same. Everything in this world was made up of delusions. Delusions developed only within my mind. Both me And this delusion I was looking at were fake.
徹夜でゲームでも
Were you
やっ
up
てた
playing
の
games all night? You
もっと
really need to
人
start
間らし
acting
い
more
生
like a
活したら
person, less like you're nocturnal or something. But I am. Up.
え何何
Shut up? I think last time we asked her to help us die.
黙れ。
Nah, just shut up.
ちょっとそんな
Hey,
言
you
い方
don't
しな
have
く
to
ても
talk
い
to
い
me
じゃん
like that, you know.
お兄だからって
Don't you think I'm gonna let you say whatever you want just because you're my brother?
黙れよ。
Shut up, you
もうそうい
delusionary
う
sister.
ことが
That's gonna be it.
Also-
Yeah, that's a fresh new insult we haven't heard before, isn't it, Nanami? Delusionary. I surrendered my body to the sofa and looked up at the ceiling. With no particular goal in mind, I started counting the rusty spots. I didn't want to look at Nanami. I'd only felt empty if I did. Well, not that I cared about whether I felt empty or not, given I was just a delusionary existence.
ねえお兄本当に
Hey,
平気
big bro, are you really
いつもと
okay?
全然様子が違う
You're
け
not
ど
really acting like yourself. So this dialogue should be different because last time she was acting apologetic and making excuses for her hand, and now she's just acting normal. Worrying about me like a good little sister? My delusional sister was worried about me. That fact alone filled me with anger. Besides, who was she to have to come into my room like she owned the place?
あわかった
Oh, I know.
お腹空いたんでしょ？
You're hungry, aren't you? I brought more clementines. I gritted my teeth.
だったらナナが
What are you in the
何
mood
か作ろう
for?
か
I can make something.
どれ。
Take it off. Uh-oh. No. We don't need another scene like that. Hmm?
鶏って言った
You want takeout?
鶏肉
Oh, come on. No one said a thing about takeout.
鶏肉だとやっぱ
Just let me make you
唐揚げ
something.
かな
How's fried
で
chicken
も
sound?
一人で作った
I've
こと
never made it on my own
ないし
before, though.
あ別にお兄の
Not
リクエス
that
ト
I'm
があった
doing
から
this because you
作るわけ
asked
じゃない
for
から
it.
ね
I was
ナ
just
ナ
in the
も
mood for
今日
some
は
fried
鶏肉で
chicken.
何か作
And
りたいなって
I don't want to go
思っ
out
てた
for
だ
it.
けだよ
That's all. This Nanami was really annoying. The fact that she was so similar to the real one wasn't something I could ignore. I mean, he's technically not wrong. She's not a delusion, but she's not the real Nanami. Wait, did a real Nanami even exist in the first place? Then what was this Nanami? Real? The real Nanami? My head became a mess. So I stopped thinking. I didn't care anymore. At the end of the day, everything was a delusion. See, this is my criticism of the game. At some point, Psy'Min stopped thinking. He didn't care anymore. At the end of the day, everything was a delusion. Hopefully, we get a little more specificity in how these things are functioning or what effect they have.
おたいとれ。
Take off the... Oh, that's what you want to take off. Okay. Phew. All right. That's not what I thought you were referring to. Take off the bandage.
取ってみろ。
Just
Okay.
take it off, you dumbass.
包帯って
Bandage?
これ
Oh, this?
転んで打撲しただけ
I
だ
just
し
fell and hurt myself. No big deal. No, it's holding the hand on. Watch it fall off. Just a fall? Was it true or was she lying? I would know if she took it off.
ほんとわがままな
I
女
swear,
だ
you're the
な
most selfish person I know.
じゃあ約束してよ
But fine.
ナナが包帯
Promise
取
me
って
that if I
くれ
take
たら
off the
お兄も
bandage,
元気出すって
you'll cheer up. Oh, what's this gonna be? What kind of fake out is this? The sound of rustling cloth rang throughout the quiet room, followed by a ringing in my ears. My head hurt. These two were delusions, though, so I paid them no mind.
はいこれで満足
There, you happy now?
ってちょっとお兄
Hello?
わざわざ
I just
取
went
った
to
ん
the
だから
trouble of taking it
ちゃんと
off, そ
見
the
てよ
least you could do is look at it. It's gonna say, whose eyes are those eyes? I sluggishly lowered my gaze. Nanami had rolled up her uniform sleeve, and she was now sticking her right hand out toward me. And when I looked at her slender arm, I saw... dripping blood. And... yeah. This jump scare gets old after a while, because I just expect it. Whose eyes are those eyes? Oh, yet again. I am amazed and surprised by this. Bloody words had been cut into her arm, and they said...
その目誰の目
This is a weird-ass injury you've managed to get for yourself, I gotta say. Oh! I just got an achievement. Found all the whose eyes are those eyes. I just got the references. Alright, I guess I saw them all. Achievement for me. Yay. Does that mean I don't have to see any more of these stupid jump scares? Alright, that's it. No more. My vision flashed, and when it passed, just like that, the horrifying wound on her arm was gone. I'd been hyperventilating, so I moved to catch my breath. I forcefully bit my lip. Nanami was rubbing the arm she had taken the bandage off of.
青技 だいぶ消えてくれたな。
Thankfully, the bruise is pretty much gone
最初
now.
はすごく腫
It
れ
was
てたんだよ。
super swollen at first. I didn't know whether that was the truth or not. Sure, there wasn't a wound there, but there had been before. 2 seconds ago, I didn't understand anything anymore. I didn't want to think anymore. Going back to staring at the roof, counting the spots. Once again, laid my head on the sofa.
ね
Hey, Nanami, so this is when we ask her to help us die. Without meeting her eyes, I called out to my sister, or to the girl whose identity I wasn't sure of.
え、お前が本物でも偽物でも
I don't care whether you're real or fake, so... Right now, I only wanted one thing.
僕を殺してくれないか。
Won't you kill me? And I assume the dialogue is going to proceed more or less as normal. But we've only got one more delusion selection to pick before we are, I assume, locked into some new ending. So I guess we'll go see what that looks like. Hey, everybody. This is a good stopping point, a good place to cut it in half for the whole recording. We've gone through all the delusions. We are finished those. And so in the next half of the video, which will be the next part, we will see the new ending and see what that's got in store for us. So look forward to that. Take care. I will talk about my thoughts at the beginning of the following video like I usually do. But this is me just cutting a big, long part in half. Take care. I will see you guys in part 2. Have a great week. I know you will. Bye-bye.